Hello everyone, welcome back to Beards, Bourbon, and Games. I'm your co-host, Conqueror Corey, and with me I have
Mike.
And we're going to do another review today. Today we are reviewing the 8-bit dough SN30 Pro.
But wait, is it 8-bit dough?
I don't know why they didn't do 16-bit. Maybe 32-bit. So this is a modern take on the Super Nintendo controller, or for the hardcore fans, the Super Famicom controller. So a little bit on the box here, we'll see that it's got the standard layout. It does come with the 2 analog sticks. But yeah, we're gonna review it and see how it holds up. You do the honors, my friend.
Last time I opened something, I broke it, so.
We'll try not to do that again. That's why we don't get sent things anymore.
After the last, the humanization.
Yeah.
The packaging is actually pretty strong. I wouldn't be too worried about this getting damaged in shipping. Like the humanization one, it was just slid into there. So that's kind of a no-brainer. Oh wow, this actually feels very similar to the shape of a Super NES controller.
I do want to add that they've added a modern layout to the controller, that there are rear trigger buttons. So you can play modern games on this controller, and it does register as an X input controller for Windows. I think you can actually use it. You can use it on Windows 7 and above, which tells me it probably uses X input as a 360 controller, not an Xbox One controller. Raspberry Pi. It says Steam, which really doesn't make so much sense to me unless Steam has its own dedicated profile for the controller, because any XBoot controller works on Steam. So if you got it working on Windows, it will in theory work in Steam most all the time. But here's what's interesting. It works on the Switch.
Which makes perfect sense, because on the bottom here, you've actually got your player 1, 2, 3, and 4 lights. That's pretty neat.
How's the D-pad feel?
The D-pad actually feels very, very strong and very responsive. I've held a lot of like off-brand controllers that the D-pad just felt mushy, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. This actually clicks as I press it down. The analog sticks feel great. They're very responsive and they just snap back into place.
Does the D-pad feel like a Super Nintendo controller D-pad?
Yeah. Very much so.
Nintendo's known for their D-pads, so much that they even have it patented. So
everything this controller feels very, very well made. Like even the buttons up top.
The one thing I think is very interesting is they went for the, which happens to work out, I think the Super Nintendo layout of the buttons, but they took a more modern approach to the buttons. Instead of keeping to the classic Super Nintendo design, they actually, the buttons are more modern in their look and feel. You know what? Let's compare it.
Okay.
So we got a Super Nintendo controller here. Let's look at the button layouts here. Okay, so very interesting enough, they kept the design the same. So B, A, Y, X. Of course, you got your start and select, which is a little bit higher up here. That's understandable because they did put the analog sticks here. You do have the 2 additional buttons here, and I'm pretty sure that's going to tie into the Xbox button and the Switch menu button for that. And then if you look at the top, you only got the 2 buttons here. Now, that's probably going to be my knock, is that I feel these shoulder buttons are a little too small, but they're making do with what real estate they have on this controller. The whole point of this controller is really to appeal to nostalgia, I think.
Yeah.
Retro emulation. That's where this controller shines. But go ahead and fill the D-pad and stuff and compare it. I'm really interested in the D-pad and see how close 8-bit dough got to it.
Well, the truth of it is that I actually like this D-pad better. It's got more of a click and more of a solid feel to it. I mean, this one is still very solid because I put, thousands of hours. If this is one, lol. If this is one of my original ones, I put a lot of work into it. So I actually like this better over here. But the buttons wise, These buttons are a little bit farther apart than here. Just a little bit. But it's not so much that my bigger hands can't get to it. They're actually, you know, with me being an adult now, it actually is a little bit better. Because when I was a kid, this was really easy to use. But as an adult, I can get a nice roll of motion here.
So obviously we'll compare the connectors. We're all familiar with these. If you're not, you're at the right place. Just YouTube search Super Nintendo. But obviously we do have a USB connector here. Now it is worth mentioning there is a more ergonomic. Am I using that word? Yeah, ergonomic. I'm tired. There is a more ergonomic option for this that actually has the long handles where you hold it like you would a PlayStation controller. That I think the back triggers are probably a whole lot better and more comfortable to use, especially for shooters. But that is $50, and it's a wireless controller. And in order to use it wireless, you have to buy an additional $20 adapter, or
Really?
if you have Bluetooth built into your computer. Me personally, I don't know why, but I'm so the idea of Bluetooth connectivity on controllers just gets to me, which all of them do connect to Bluetooth now.
Yep, all of them do it.
I guess it's just where I was around for the first days of Bluetooth, and I remember the latency from it.
Oh, so bad.
I've always liked corded controllers, and you know, speedrunners and folks who really care about latency in their games. They play a lot of Twitch games. You can't beat a corded controller hardly.
Yeah.
There's a few cases, maybe one or two wireless controllers that keep up with it.
Right.
This thing will set you back $25 on Amazon right now, which I think is a pretty good price for what you're getting. I mean, it feels premium.
It's really good. You can get some really cheap controllers out there, and we've all ordered those cheap controllers for playing emulations and things, and they always are crap. They always break. This feels like it's definitely worth the money.
Yeah, $25 for a dedicated emulation controller that you can even play current games on. I really don't know how I would feel like playing Doom for like 4 hours on this.
Yeah.
I could see my hand starting to cramp.
Right.
By doing this. I don't know. Maybe I got big hands.
I got big hands.
But it don't feel like a $25 controller. It feels
very solid.
a good way
I
to
put it up against the Xbox controller. It's pretty.
Obviously for shooters, it's hard to beat this controller because anybody who has a PC, you have one of these most likely.
Yeah.
We all have those games. I don't care if you're a mouse and keyboard warrior. You've used this at least once. Because some games just have horrible mouse and keyboard support.
Like Medium. Great game. Go play it.
Or you can just watch on our channel. But yeah, I mean, I think it's money well spent. Now, if you want to go for a wireless option, you do have the SN30 Plus. They actually have a new version that just came out, the version 2, which is more designed to be compatible with Project xCloud in them, which I think the first one is, so it makes no sense why they made a V2, but...
money.
Yep. Why money, Conquer, Corey? Why money? But I think for this, it's all about the retro emulation. But why am I talking about retro emulation when we can show you retro emulation? Emulation. Emulation. All right, so we have it plugged into our GPD WinMax here. And as you can see, what I suspected was correct, and I never checked it before, but this does show up as a Xbox 360 controller. That'll still work for any XPut compatible game, which is probably all of them
at this point.
So you don't have to worry about that. So a lot of your games that are X input compatible, or emulators that are already pre-programmed for X input, pretty much plug and play and good to go. All right, let's jump into a game and see the controller in action. All right, so here we have 30XX. This is a game in early development. It is a 2D Mega Man style game. So that's what these controllers were built for. Go and get started here. Let's go standard because I'm not a scrub. Watch me say that and I'll die. We're gonna jump straight into the action here, just so you can kind of see overall how the controller feels. So anybody who played back in the SNES days is going to feel right at home with this controller.
The clicking is so satisfying to me. I know I keep coming back to that, but
I love feedback on the controller.
It helps me time, especially on games like this where timing is everything.
Well,
see what I mean?
There you go. And the input latency actually feels really great. All right, let's shoot over to another game. All right, so here is a PlayStation 2 emulator running on the controller, and as you can see here, we're using that. It feels so weird to play a PlayStation game using a Super Nintendo style controller.
It's just wrong. It's just wrong.
We're gonna blow up YouTube from this. All right, let's go to arcade mode. This is Mobile Suit Gundam, Gundam versus Zeta Gundam. And yes, I am a huge Gundam fan. Me and Mike both are. We are Gundams.
We are Gundams.
And you know what? I'm gonna go random. Wait, I can't go random.
Do Alex. Do Alex.
There is no Alex in this one.
Oh, broke game.
But I can.
0 out of 10 would not play.
We'll do the OG Gundam. I'm not noticing any input latency. So. Alright. Ooh, that's nice. Okay, so one thing I want to mention is this controller's D-pad is so much better than the Xbox One's clicking. I love it. Some people don't like the click.
Yeah, I guess it can be annoying when you're doing a whole lot of stuff, but for old retro games and things like that where timing is important.
I'm going to switch over to the joystick now. This is actually a fun fact about this game. This game is actually a reskin of a Japanese game. It's really popular. It's some kind of battle arena game, and they just slapped Gundams on it, made its own game. But yeah, that was a playthrough on the emulation. Like I said, you can play modern games on this, but honestly, for short play sessions, especially retro games, it's got my approval.
It does mine too. It seems like it works really good, especially for $25.
Again, just touching back, will this replace an Xbox controller? Probably not. Because after about an hour or so, I say your hands will start getting uncomfortable because, you know, our hands are not little kid hands anymore.
Our old hands.
You can get the plus version of this that has a more modern design to it, and I think that'll be a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
Let us know if you'd like us to review that one. We will pick it up for sure. But for nostalgia, emulation, playing some 2D games that have real basic control schemes, I think for $25 you can't go wrong with this.
No.
Well, if you like this video, be sure to leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think of the controller. Anything that you'd like to see us do with the controller. If you want to see more content like this, we actually have a few other reviews of a lot of first and third party. Well, one third party. This is our second third party video, but we do have a lot of first party accessory reviews in the channel. So be sure to check us out down below. Click that little subscribe button and enable that little bell so that way you can catch up whenever we do more reviews, which we plan to do. But as always, I'm your co-host, Conqueror Corey.
I'm Mike.
And we'll
See ya.